Hi, I'm Brian Mealor from the University of Wyoming Cooperative Extension Service, and we're here this morning at the Adams property between Laramie and Cheyenne to talk about prioritizing weed management and identifying areas that we may want to concentrate on for controlling weeds and just keeping an eye out for places where weeds might become more of a problem. So we're standing next to their driveway and we see a lot of bare soil, a lot of open places that were disturbed during the construction phase of this property. Places like this are always good places to keep an eye out for weeds because there's a lot of available resources. There are places for seeds to become established and to go ahead and take root and grow. Whereas if we compare this to existing vegetation that wasn't disturbed, we see that there's a lot less bare soil, there's less opportunity for new weeds to come in through seed and become established. So if we're prioritizing places to put on our watch list on our property to keep an eye out for new weeds, I would say watch these disturbed areas a little bit more closely than I would the native intact vegetation. One of the primary concerns with managing your weeds is being able to identify which plant it is that we're dealing with, determining whether or not it's a weed, whether or not it's something that we need to be concerned with, and the influx of new species into our area, and whether or not we know if it's a weed or if it's something that we need to be concerned with. There are a lot of different resources for determining if something is a weed or not. Weeds of the West is probably one of the most well-known, and we use it consistently around the entire western United States. There are also websites available through the University of Wyoming Cooperative Extension Service and other resources for identifying plants and weeds, just plants in general. You might also be able to contact your local Cooperative Extension Service office or your county weed and pest agent to determine whether or not a plant that you're concerned with is actually a weed that you need to be concerned with, or if it's just a showy native plant. One of the things that's a little basic is if something looks out of place. Now if we look at this broad-leafed plant here, it doesn't really look necessarily out of place in this situation, but it's next to the disturbed soil that we were discussing earlier, and we see that it is becoming somewhat dense in this area. Now, this is actually one of our noxious weeds in the state. It's called hound's tongue. Now, Miss Adams has already done some work in this area, so we don't have any of these plants that are going to seed or that are even flowering anymore, and that's one of the things that we would want to take advantage of with this plant, is if we can prevent it from producing seed, then we will prevent it from spreading further on the property. So hound's tongue is easy to identify. The leaf is kind of velvety and smooth like a hound's tongue might be, and it has a very distinct set of flowers and seeds that produce burrs that will stick to fur of animals and be moved around in that way. So hound's tongue is one that we would definitely want to watch out for.